everybody. Let's get started with our next unit, which is talking about the lines and spaces of the treble clef. Now we're really starting to get into how music works, right? We know about pitch, and we know now that a higher frequency sound wave is going to give us a higher pitch, right? And we know that a lower frequency sound wave is going to give us a lower pitch. But what do high and low pitches sound like in music? All right, so we are going to start by labeling the lines and spaces of the treble clef. Now, the treble clef staff, rather. Now, when you're looking at a staff is 5 lines and 4 spaces. So you can see here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. And in between those 5 lines, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces, right? So the 5 lines and 4 spaces are a staff. And depending on what kind of twirly symbol we've got here at the beginning, that determines whether or not it's going to be a treble clef staff or something else. We are going to be talking about the treble clef staff today. Now, when labeling lines and spaces of any staff, whether or not it's the treble clef or not, doesn't matter, you're always going to work from the bottom to the top, always, okay? So let's start with the lines of the treble clef first, okay? The lines of the treble clef, okay? We start off with E on the very bottom. Now, the musical alphabet is going to go from A to G and then starts over, okay? So it goes in the same order as the alphabet, just that we all know. But when you get to G, it's going to start over. So it'll go A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Then it starts over A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It keeps on going and going and going. Okay? Now, if I tell you that that first line is E, okay, then we'll go ahead and do the spaces just so we can work our way up. If I tell you that first line is E, that first space right here is going to be F, right? A, B, C, D, E, F. The next line is G. Now, remember, A to G, and then it starts over. So what's going to come after G is A, right? After A, we just do the regular alphabet. A, this line is going to be B. This space will be C. This line will be D, E, and F. So you can just work your way up the alphabet staff. Now let's get rid of this for right now. We're just talking about lines, okay? Now we can come up with some acronyms to help us remember the lines and spaces, okay? One thing that I've seen a lot is every good boy does fine. That's a very common one. You can come up with your own. If you can think of one that works better than that, go for it. Whatever helps you remember. I've also seen every good burger deserves fries. That's another really common one. And that one seems to be a little bit easier for some people to remember, right? Every good burger deserves fries. Okay? As long as you can remember that our lines are E, G, B, D, and F. So you can come up with your own acronym. I've had some people come up with super funny ones. Whatever you can do to help you come up with something that works. It doesn't matter to me. Okay? Now, if those are just the lines, and you kind of got a little preview of the spaces when we were working, but let's talk about the spaces next, okay? Now, all right, so let's talk about the spaces next. Now, we know that this bottom line is going to be E, so we can put that there to help us remember. Now, if that bottom line is E right here, that means right above it is going to be F, okay? Then again, you can work up the staff and up through the alphabet. This would be G. After G, we remember we go from A to G and then start over, right? So if this is G, then this is going to be A. Then we just go up the alphabet normally. B, C, D, E. And those are our spaces. Okay? And this one is a little bit easier to remember because it's just the word face, right? If you want to, you can come up with some sort of acronym, but I just remember that starting from the bottom to the top, it spells face, right? You could come up with an acronym like we did with the lines. For example, you could say, farmers are cool every day. I don't know, whatever you want to do. It doesn't really matter. You can come up with something, but I just remember that the spaces spell face, okay? Now, we have some notes below the staff as well. Okay, and these are where it kind of gets a little bit trickier for people to remember, okay? There are two notes that I want you to know, okay? We have one right here below the staff where it's touching that bottom line, right? But it's not on the bottom line. If it were on the bottom line, we know that it would be an E, right? But it's just touching that bottom line. It's not on it, okay? And what we're going to call that is D, right? Because in the alphabet, what comes before E, A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, E, right? So right before that E, right below it is going to be that D. Then, even below that, think about what comes before the letter D in the alphabet. Down here, below the staff, kind of on a little imaginary line that's going to float underneath the staff, is going to be C. Okay, and this is a special C. This C is actually called middle C, and it's called middle C for a couple of reasons. One reason is because if you were to look at a piano, it's kind of in the middle of the keys on the piano, but the main reason that it's called middle C is because it's in the middle of something called the grand staff, and we'll talk about that later. The most important thing that I need you to remember is that the C that's below the staff is special and it's middle C. Now we also know that there's a C up here, right? F, A, C, E. There are two C's though. This one is just regular old C. This one is special. It's middle C. Okay? So for one time, just for good measure, let's write out the entire staff here. Okay? Let's write out the entire staff. All right, let's start with our lines. Let's do this. We've got, at the very bottom, we start with E. Okay, then we move on up. After E, we have F. After F, we have G. And then, remember, the musical alphabet goes from A to G. And then does what? Starts over. So then we move on back to A. After A, we just normal alphabet. B, C, D, E, and F. Okay? Then we have our special notes, right? Right here below the staff, but touching that top line here, we have D. And then below the staff on that imaginary line, we have the very special middle C. Okay? So really practice that. Write it down. Draw a staff. You know, you don't have to be an expert on drawing the special, you know, the treble clef or anything. Just do your best. Whatever you've got to do. Just make sure that you are practicing these lines and spaces, doing your best. If you have any questions, let me know. Also, look on YouTube, other than just this channel. If you go and look on YouTube, there are a ton of videos that can help you with learning the lines and spaces of the treble clef. Treble clef. If you just Google lines and spaces of the treble clef, there are tons of videos and resources and websites that can help you with figuring that out, okay? Let me know if you have any trouble, and give me a call if you need help, okay, guys? Bye.